Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Hangout on Air. We are featuring Chromebooks, the Palo Alto Library's story. I have a lovely panel of guests here. My name is Christina Mondini. I am a community manager on our Google Enterprise team. To introduce our panel, we have our Google Product Manager of Chromebooks, Vidya Nagarajan.
Hi.
Library Director for Palo Alto Libraries, Monique leConge.
Hi.
And our wonderful deployment and training specialists from Dido, Jim McNelis,
Hey, everyone.
And Jay Lee.
Hi.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Just a reminder, if you have any questions, please provide them in the comment section of this broadcast. And with that, take it away, Vidya.
Thank you, Christina. Hi, everyone. My name is Vidya Nagarajan, and I'm a product manager at Google for Chromebooks for Business. It's my pleasure to be here today to talk to you a little bit more about Chromebooks and how Chromebooks are well suited to be a device that can be used for public computing in verticals such as libraries. So in today's world, we are increasingly seeing that the browser has become the universal desktop, and users have access to all apps and data from any device. Chromebooks are truly optimized for the web, resulting in more productive and happy users. They are extremely easy for the administrator to manage, providing a more secure platform. The ease of deployment results in a much lower total cost of ownership compared to traditional computers. Chromebooks allow for productive and happy users by providing them access to all their apps and data instantly. The device comes in two form factors, as you can see here, a laptop and a desktop. It boots up in 8 seconds and has over 8.5 hours of battery life, so lasts almost an entire workday. It has Wi-Fi and also comes with 3G connectivity options. And the best of all, the device gets faster over time. Chromebooks are truly easy to manage, and it works with a web-based administrator console, allowing you to scale your deployment without any manual configuration. You can push network settings and auto-enroll a device for management when a user first logs in, creating a zero-touch deployment experience. While the OS auto-updates to the latest version securely downloaded from Google, you can control frequency of auto-updates if needed and receive reports on device usage. The Chrome OS is really an operating system that is built for security, with multiple layers of protection, including sandboxing, verified boot, and data encryption. Further, there is also an option to have all the data wiped out, all the local data wiped out on logout. Users can also sign in using the guest mode to browse incognito if they choose to do so. So all of these features make Chromebooks an ideal device that can be used as a public computer in environments such as libraries. I now pass it on to Monique, who can talk about how Chromebooks have been effectively deployed and used in the Palo Alto City libraries.
Thank you, Vidya. I wanted to share my experience using Chromebooks in our libraries. We began lending them for in-library use in November of 2011. And the decision to use Chromebooks was primarily based on how much easier it would be for us to use, how much simpler it would be for the library patrons, and ultimately it was a simple, cost-effective solution to managing our in-library use of laptops. We had desktop computers that were available for public access, and Vidya had observed us lending out traditional laptops, which were heavy, not as user-friendly, and each time that they were returned to the desk had to be completely wiped. Anything that could be identifying data was removed. We sort of just checked to make sure everything was cleared off. What a difference with Chromebooks. We were able to demonstrate them within seconds. Users are familiar with a web browser. Many of them prefer Chrome, the Chrome browser, and many of them had Gmail accounts, Google accounts that they could use to access apps, to access their Google Docs, and to have the Wi-Fi and 3G options was another real benefit for us. So what we started to do then in February of this year was make the devices available to check out outside the library and take home for a 1-week time period. We used a number of different models that are available for your information from, for example, Sacramento Public Library's Nook lending program. There are other libraries who are lending other tablets, and if you're in libraries and you're interested in policies, you can certainly look for us, look for Sacramento, and see some of the basic information we put together regarding user requirements and things like that. But we now have 66 Chromebooks, 60 for checkout from 5 different branches, and 6 that we use as express kiosks, which are anyone's able to walk up and use. And I think that ultimately for us, the benefit has been it's a very fast machine. People easily are able to use them. I would suggest that you have libraries, library staff, library director especially, use the device, take it to a conference, take it to meetings. I did that, and my traditional laptop now seems too slow to me because I had access to all my data, access to my work email through a web client, and could use it no matter where I was. The 3G, saved me a couple of times when I couldn't connect to Wi-Fi. That's a benefit that I would strongly consider. And we actually use Chromebooks as a backup for our library catalog and have taken them to community events to issue library cards. So it does work with any devices you might be needing to use with the public. So I think that our work was a really great experiment. It's definitely become part of our culture here. The systems librarian and another librarian from Multnomah County Library have started a Google group. There is Chromebooks in libraries, so you can look for that. And if you want to get in touch with me or ask any technical questions, Palo Alto is available to help. You can email us at librarytechnology, one word, at cityofpaloalto.org. And now I'll turn it over to Jim and hopefully follow up with any questions you have later on.
Thank you, Monique. That was excellent. So based on Palo Alto's success and everything Monique just described there, about 40 other libraries in California decided to go and implement a similar system with Chromebooks in the library system. Dido's job here was to help develop a plan to roll out these libraries in a similar way to the way Palo Alto did across these 40 libraries. So what we did is we broke it down into 2 user types, the librarians and the IT administrators, so the folks who would be interacting with the users and the folks who would be managing the devices. And then we developed training based on that. We actually ended up involving Monique in the librarian training so she could describe to the librarians how Palo Alto deployed the Chromebooks and how they had made them available to their patrons, some of the in and outs and the best practices that they had learned along the way. That was extremely valuable, and it gave the other libraries a really good sense of how they could deploy this within their own system. During the training, we also wanted to make sure that people understood what Chromebooks were. So we went ahead and gave them an overview of what Chromebooks are and what a Chrome browser is, and gave them a preview of the web store and explained the concept of having access to your device anywhere at any time. I think one of the really cool things about deploying Chromebooks and Chrome browser into the libraries is there's the concept of when a user is on their device, they can actually check that content out and take it home with them if it's set up in the right way, if they're using a Google account. So you can almost check out your web pages and take them home with you. And I thought that was a really cool concept for libraries and Chromebooks. So we actually had really great feedback around the training that we delivered, and I want to share a little bit of that with you right now. This was feedback both for the administrative training and the librarian training. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Jay Lee, and Jay's going to tell us a little bit how we scaled out the technical side of the deployment across these 40+ libraries.
Thanks, Jim. As Dido got involved with the project there were a couple of things that we were able to do with each library, and as Jim said, there were about 40 libraries. The first thing that we assisted with was setting up a Google Apps account for each library. Chromebooks are managed via the Google Apps account. When you're talking about a larger infrastructure of them, there's no on-site server. It's managed entirely in the cloud via Google Apps. So Dido was able to assist the libraries in deploying Google Apps and setting it up for the Chromebooks. And then from the Google Apps account, the devices pull down policy settings in terms of the modes, who's allowed to log into the Chromebooks, network and wireless settings are all pulled down from the Google Apps cloud down to the individual devices. So we assisted the libraries in fine-tuning the settings there, and that's really one of the most powerful advantages to Chromebooks in that managed environment, is that literally the libraries received the Chromebooks, were able to pull them out of the box and open them up, and didn't even have to tell the devices what network to connect to. They already knew which Wi-Fi networks to connect to, which settings to take on. Even such things as encrypted networking was able to be picked up there automatically, and further policy settings there. And then we offered, Dido offered the libraries training on the control panel as they go forward, how they can log into the management console and make custom settings to how the Chromebooks are managed in that policy there. So we were able to assist with that. We also assisted them some with the physical rollout, and as Monique discussed, we leaned on Palo Alto in terms of best practice in loaning out the units, making sure they're secured, turning on that feature video was talking about to wipe all user data so that one patron could have the Chromebook, hand it in, log out, and there was no data on there at all for the next user. So it seems like a simple concept, but when you talk about a Windows machine, Mac machine, that's difficult to implement actually. So that was something that's very powerful with the Chromebooks. So that's some of the basics of the rollout there. I'm going to hand it back over to Christina now, and I think we have some Q&A.
We sure do. Let me just refresh my screen. We have a question from William. He asks, how can you add the license for the console to Chrome devices not purchased through the Google Apps control panel? We have some that I want to control, but I don't know how I can pay $150 to get control of them. Jim?
Yeah. So I mean, there's a handful of resellers out there, or you could potentially try to contact Google Direct for the licenses. You know, resellers like Dido and others are able to actually provision those licenses for you, and then you can add in and manage those other devices through that license itself. So the answer would be is you can purchase that license separately, either directly from Google or from a Chromebook partner, even if you purchase the device elsewhere.
I'll add to that also. If you've not purchased the Chromebook yet already, but you have Google Apps set up, you can now purchase directly from your Google Apps control panel and order Chromebooks. So.
Very nice.
And that's going to enable the Chrome management for you.
Here we go. Someone has a comment saying that they find Chromebooks more interesting than the iPhone launch.
Yay.
Me too.
Yeah, I heard something
Features that you could have last year.
Okay, so William wants someone to get in contact with him, and so we'll reach out to him. Does anybody want to close with some closing comments about Chromebooks and their experiences and the magic that we're sharing?
I think for one, I noticed, I meant to bring this up when I was talking before, Vidya actually was using her Chromebook today to present. So when she was presenting her screen and everything else, she's on a Chromebook. I noticed her interface, which looks, very much like the interface of any other computer that we use today. And so I just think that, for a simplistic device that's able, to deliver, we're in a Hangout, we're doing video chat, she's also sharing her screen. It's really powerful and useful as well. So I've, my personal experience, I'm on my iMac right now because I'm at my desk, but I've actually traded in my MacBook Pro for my new Chromebook. I've been using it for the last 2 months solid, and I have absolutely no need for my MacBook anymore, and I prefer the experience on my Chromebook. And I mean, it took a little bit of getting used to initially because it's a smaller screen and things like that, but I now actually, when I pick up the MacBook Pro, it feels too big and too much, and quite frankly, all I really need is that browser. So it always annoys me having to keep everything slim, and so I've really I've taken it full-fledged. I've taken the jump myself, and I'm feeling like it's an advantage of mine rather than a disadvantage. So personal experience.
And I wanted to jump in and talk about the public library perspective. For us, having the flexibility to use the 3G or the Wi-Fi has been a real benefit. In fact, in the library, our network went down so that none of our desktop computers worked, but the Chromebooks all worked. And so patrons were able to continue doing whatever they needed to do, and we were able to offer something that helped us while things were getting repaired. And again, that I've found that for my own use, it's a really brilliant solution. And if you have meeting rooms or things like that, it's a tool. You could leave it as part of the meeting room rental, and then people will be able to just come in, log into their accounts, and immediately have access to all of their apps, all of their data. Again, they'd be able to connect to a screen, and it's a really simple, cost-effective solution for public libraries.
Great, thank you for sharing. And actually, we have another question. How many tabs can you run at once?
A lot. Is there an actual technical answer to that any of us are aware of?
I'm not aware of a limit there, but on the newer ones,
there isn't a limitation. You should be able to run as many tabs as possible. And in fact, with the newer devices are using such powerful processors. The computing power is so much more better compared to the older ones. So they're using the Intel Sandy Bridge processors. They're i5, so they're really, really powerful.
I should point out that's why I'm using the Chromebook over my MacBook, because it's actually faster. So that was one of the main advantages. It's just a cleaner experience and a faster browsing experience.
And of course, since everything's cloud-based, any updates, anything that you need to do, that's going to happen automatically. It's not like you have to go and touch each machine and upgrade it to make it run faster or change things. It's really, really cool solution.
Yeah, your users almost do that for you, right? When they restart the devices, they're basically updating it at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other interesting thing to look in terms of the power of the Chromebook is try to run 3 or 4 different YouTube videos at the same time, and you'll find that they would all play together, right? It's not going to crash. And that really shows you how well it is performing. So.
Great. Actually, with that, we're out of time. I want to thank everybody for watching live, and I want to also thank everybody that's on our panel. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us and helping us get best practices in the Chromebooks out there.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Nice hat.
Thanks. Have a good one, everyone.
All right, bye.
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 And just a reminder to everybody that we'll be holding a recording of the broadcast, and we'll be showing that tomorrow. We'll have a recording of the broadcast, and we'll answer any questions that haven't already been answered. Thank you, guys.